Ick. It is really cold and rainy out here today. So we are in the sort of covered, shrouded portion of my front porch here as it continues to pour outside. So I do apologize if the background lighting maybe not quite as nice as it usually is, but I brought up my big crate of knives today. This is stuff that I've made over the course of this month. Tomorrow is the 25th of January, which means I'm having a sale. That means the majority of what you're going to see in this case is actually going to be up for sale for the general public. These are not custom order knives. For those of you guys who don't know, I work a little differently than most custom knife makers. Instead of taking custom orders, what I do is I build what I want to over the course of the month and then put those knives up for sale on my website at www.willmooncustomknives.com. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be listing all these, and you'll be able to hook into a brand new Moon custom knife at maker price. So, kind of a cool deal. This month is a little special because I worked with some different blade steels. You'll see that in just a minute, and I will say this as well before we get into this. I'm going to be applying to law schools here in the next month or two. I'm looking at getting into the fall and going into law school, so this is probably going to be the last sale you're going to see for a little while. It might be another month or two before I get another batch of knives ready. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at these, and I'll show you what I've got for this month. Alright folks, let's take a look here. I've laid out all the knives. I've got 14 knives this month. It's been a long month, and there's a lot of really nice stuff in here. I've been busy up to my eyeballs making these knives here, and I think you'll see that when we start getting into this. There's some really cool stuff in here. Now this month, I put all these knives out here so we can just have some eye candy while I talk for just a second. So this month I tried something new. I actually went and invested in some CPM S35VN. It's a steel I've never worked with, but I've worked with a sister steel, or I guess the progenitor of S35VN, S30V in the past. And it's been a couple years since I've really run much in S35VN. I've done a few here and there, or I'm sorry, S30V. I've done a few here and there in vanadium steels, but not much in terms of doing many batches of S30V or S35VN or S90V or S110, any of that stuff. So vanadium in steel makes it very, very tough to machine. Additionally, S35VN has niobium in it, which makes it a little bit tougher than regular S30V. And I had a heck of a time machining this stuff. It's already more expensive than CPM 154, but machining it put a lot of wear on my tools, my carbide end mills, and it's really tough to mill. CPM 154 I can just chew through. It's not a big deal. CPM D2 takes a little longer just because it's a little bit harder and it's annealed state than CPM 154. But just generally speaking, I don't have that much tool wear with the CPM D2 either. But when you add the vanadium to the mix, it really is an absolute pain in the butt. And the other thing is, when I had these heat treated, I have my heat treats done professionally by a company called East Carolina Metal Treating. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm on a first-name basis with the metallurgist over there who does my knives. He's a knife guy, and I ask for him specifically whenever I go to heat treat stuff because I know that he has an idea of what I'm looking for with my knives. And we had a discussion when I sent these over there about Crucible's exact specs for the CPM S35VN. And I wanted to have it done, faithfully to Crucible specs so that I know that these came out right, which is kind of an involved process. It has, there's a tempering process that's pretty extensive, and also it's got a refrigeration and nitrogen. And so it was kind of a little bit expensive. And what I mean by that is, normally when I do a batch of CPM 154 or CPM D2 blades, it costs me about $103 to do a batch. And this time when I sent over the batch of S35VN, it was $536. So there's a little bit of an upcharge there. It's going to be a little bit more for the S35VN blades. So, that's just the way it is, the economics of it, but you are getting a higher performance steel. So if they work out, they work out, and I'll do more of them. It's got to just make sense for the economics here, because at the end of the day, these have got to be this is a business item. If it doesn't work out, then I've got CPM D2 and CPM 154, and you know, we'll go with those as the standards. But this month I actually ran 3 batches of blades. I didn't get to do anything with the CPM 154, but I've got CPM D2 stuff here over here. This one's also in 20 CV, by the way, so this is just a little experiment that I did. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But the CPM S35VN knives are right here, and I'll just kind of run through them a little bit. There's some experiments in here as well in terms of the backspacer. I started running a few with standoffs, which I'll show you, and also a few with titanium screws. Now, this one here is in CPM S35VN. This has got a 2-tone Wharncliffe blade on it, satin finish frame, jeweling, lava, kieranite. This has got a standoff on it, and kind of neat. This has also got a little bit of an experimental pocket clip. If you guys like these, I'll keep running them like this, but I did a few of them like this. You'll see some of them have the plain style pocket clip and some of them don't. This was one that I did without any kind of grooves in it, and this has got heavier chamfers on it. I'm calling this the A2 style pocket clip. It is a little bit lower profile, and it's a little bit thinner than the older ones, but I think it's kind of a cool look to it. So something just real nice high contrast on there. But you get barrel standoff on this one. It's already drilled and tapped though. If you want to go to a regular standoff, because the Mark 10s are modular, you can put a regular standoff in there at a later date if you want. But it's got nice action on it. This is S35VN. It's got a little bit of a chisel tip to it that I added. So kind of cool. So this is a pretty cool knife, and I think you guys are really going to like this one. If you want to pick up this knife here, this will be available. Of course, all these are going to be available. Duh. We'll keep going with the S35VN ones here. This one's got a satin finished drop point. This is all hand hollow ground, freehand done, which is really cool, I think, and really nicely polished to the best of my ability. You know, of course, vanadium steels are kind of tough to polish, but I got this one, I think, looking pretty good. It's got blasted handles, but it's got titanium screws on it. So it's got gold titanium screws and C-Tech. Black G10 for the back spacer and pocket clip. And I think just an overall really nice looking knife. That's pretty cool. Here's another Wharncliffe. This has got the same sort of stonewash two-tone to it. Of course, polished crowned spine on it. This one's kind of like a law enforcement model knife. It's got a blue pocket clip, iridium colored screws on it. Stonewash frame. This is actually unidirectional CF for the scales, which I'm kind of up in the air on. It's neat material. It's got a little bit of reflectivity to it, but you know, it's very lightweight, very, very strong, and it's cool stuff, actually, I guess. This one here is a multi-grind with a double tanto on it. So this is a very unique blade shape. You know, I've only ever done one of these, so if you like the double tanto look, this is really a good way to do it. This has got blasted bevels and satin finished flats on it with a satin finished crown. But it's got that double tanto on that, and all blue on the frame here. It's blue satin. It's got blue texalium for the scales, blue anodized titanium screws on it, and of course we got blue for the G10 pocket clip and backspacer. So really cool. This one's got a fantastic action on it too. I've been playing with this one a little bit, and I've gotten a little bit worn in. So pretty cool. It's a nice knife. Here we've got another multi-grind, again an S35VN, blasted. This is a drop point instead of a double tanto. And it's got a blasted crown on it. It's the only real difference in terms of finishing. Otherwise, you got the satin finished flats, which I think look really nice on here. Very you know, clean look to this one here. It's got a little bit of traction on there on the gray G10, blasted frames, but it's got orange for the backspacer and pocket clip. So a little bit of high contrast there, but very clean looking knife. And this thing is fantastic. Got a great action to it again. So that's pretty cool. If you don't like the multi-grinds, I've got this one here. This is a Spanto type blade on it. Blasted finishes on everything. It's got blasted titanium screws, blasted titanium frame, again orange with the backspacer and pocket clip, and this has got that new A2 style pocket clip on it. But again, very clean looking knife. Super fine tolerances and everything like that. Very fast knife too. And last but not least, in the S35VN, we've got a two-tone Spanto. Green for the screw there for the pivot. Blasted titanium here on the screws for the scales. This has got lime green or toxic green for the backspacer and pocket clip. Again, just a really clean looking knife. So here we've got one in 20CV. This is a hand rubbed satin blade. Sort of a little bit of a recurve. Polished spine, blasted frames, and red C-Tech. Black G10 for the backspacer and pocket clip. Really nice. This is just kind of like a one-off thing. Now in terms of the D2, we've got a number here. This one here has got the A2 chamfered frames on it. This is a matte green anodized frame. It's got a two-tone blade, blasted bevels, satin flats. And this is a really cool looking knife. This has also got that A2 pocket clip. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Unidirectional scales as well. And this is a really cool knife. This is in CPM D2. It's a great tool steel. The one thing you'll need to know about the tool steels, though, is you got to keep them oiled, otherwise they can rust a little more readily than the S35VN and the stainless steels. This one here is also in CPM D2, stonewash bevels, polished satin flats, crown spine. We've got a matte finish, bronze anodized frame on it, heat colored hardware, and this is just black G10 for the scales, OD green G10 for the backspacer and pocket clip. I'll skip over that one and come back to these two in just a second here. I'll show you some of the other knives that I've got up here, because the other two are dress knives. This one here is, well, this is kind of a dress knife too. This is in CPM D2 as well. This has got a nice sort of semi-polished satin. This is a little bit more polished than regular satin finish, but it's not to the point of a high polish yet. But this is a really nice looking blade. Drop point on it, of course, all hand ground. This has got satin finish on the flats here. Nice deep blue kieranite, very pretty. But it's got a stonewash finish on the edges here. And I think it makes kind of a neat little subtle contrast to it. Gold anodized hardware on it. Blue G10 for the backspacer and pocket clip. And then the screws here on the pivot are actually two-tone. You can see they're gold and blue anodized. So kind of a neat little two-tone going on there. Nice action on it. Generally just a really nice knife. I really like this one. This is one of my favorites out of the whole batch. Now these three here are kind of special. This one here, I'll start with this. This was one that was kind of an experiment in bluing, and I started doing a little bit of bluing just to kind of see how it would look on knives. This is again CPM D2, which is a tool steel. One of the old school ways of finishing a knife, of course, is bluing it, and this has got a blued finish bevel on it. And also the chamfers on it are blued. So you can see that there. It gives it a little bit of contrast, kind of edges the blade. It's a little tough to pick up on camera and get focused, but I think it looks really nice. This is a Spanto, or a Tonto blade really. I did a satin finish. This is actually flat here because I want to retain those chamfers. But kind of a neat finish, and I think it looked a little bit more antique-y, so I decided to do this sort of antique looking handle. It's got kind of like a copper patina look to it. This is a matte anodized green finish, but then I tumbled it and I added bronze finish, anodized finish to the areas that got tumbled, and I think it makes it look like patinaed copper, which is kind of cool. And then because I wanted kind of an antique looking handle, I went with translucent. This is breadboard G10. So this is actually from a breadboard, which if you guys have been around long enough, you'll know what that is. But you know, being the son of an engineer, you know, I grew up with this kind of stuff. So this has got some traction milling here. I added a little bit of Moonglow there. This has got Coyote Brown for the backspacer, but it's got Moonglow there and there. And then we've got the A2 style pocket clip on it, which I think is really cool. And this is a really nice flipper, and I think it looks just really nice. But I took the blued sections here all the way to a mirror polish before I blued them. So it has that kind of, you know, Colt Python look to it. So really, really neat looking knife and very unique. You can't buy this from anybody else. I mean, it's a unique knife. Now these other two, we'll go into this one here. This is another one of my favorites from this run. This is a mirror polished bevel on this one here, and you know, for whatever reason, the CPM D2 has this reputation for being unpolishable, and you know, I've done a few of these in a mirror polish, and really the biggest trick is time on task. You know, you got to be willing to sit there and grind for hours, but if you do that, you can get this kind of finish, which I think looks really nice. This is a matte anodized gold handle here. Gold hardware here at the pivot. I used black hardware for the C-Tech because I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit more muted, and also it ties in with the black G10 backspacer and pocket clip, which has also got black hardware on there too. But I think it looks really nice. Some people have said it looks like an Iron Man knife. For whatever reason, it reminds me of Flash Gordon, but you know, then again, I'm like a nerd. I grew up in that kind of environment. And then, last but not least, this one here. This is a really nice one. This is the highest end one that I made this month. This is a full mirror polished CPM D2 blade, and it's pretty breathtaking in person. I just love this knife. It's absolutely beautiful. The chamfers are polished green anodized, and then I satin finished the edges. So you have this sort of two-tone look to it, but it's also green anodized in the little areas where the jimping are. This is full Moonglow for the scales, and it's just gorgeous. It's jeweled on the inside. This is forest green G10 for the backspacer and pocket clip. It's got green anodized titanium hardware on a two-tone pivot, hand crown spine, and man, this knife is absolutely gorgeous, and I love this knife. This thing is just beautiful. So I just want to give you a quick look at that too. Make sure we spent enough time on this one, because this is just a beautiful, beautiful knife. That polish on there, I was just astounded at how well this came out. And like I said, CPM D2's apparently got this reputation for being unpolishable, so clearly it's not. It's just, you gotta be willing to put the time into it. It's got a few little streaks in it, but that's just my oil off of my fingers. It's just real pretty. Anyway, so yeah, that's my run for this month. It's a lot of knives. Yeah, like I said, these will be available tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on my website, www.willmooncustomknives.com. They're available for general sale, so you know, you don't have to be like the king of Saudi Arabia to come over and buy a knife from me. Anybody can come to my website, use my web store, and just put whatever knife you want in your cart, and check out with PayPal, and you'll get your knife in 2 to 3 business days if you're in the United States. But these are available for sale, and like I said, the CPM S35VN, it's a temporary thing. I'm probably, you know, depending on how they sell, I might do some more of them, but as of right now, I'm probably not going to run too many more of those. The CPM D2, I'm going to use up this batch, and then I'm going to move over to CPM 154. If I go back to the CPM D2, it'll be in a few months, but you know, I'm not opposed to working with it again. It was a really cool blade steel, and I do like the performance of it. It's a really good steel from a performance aspect. But if you guys have any questions or comments, you can either post in the comment section below or send me a direct message. My email, if you need me, is support@willmooncustomknives.com. And like I said, this is probably going to be the last sale for a couple months because I'm going to be a little bit busy with law school apps. Thanks all for your support. I really, really appreciate it. You've made it possible for me to pursue knife making as a full-time job. It's been fantastic, and I really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.